Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiang. Since US President Joe Biden announced in April a full withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan, there has been much talk about how China could seize the moment to fill the vacuum left behind by the US and expand its presence and influence there. Such arguments have only intensified following the high-profile meeting between Taliban leaders and the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang last month, where Wang declared that Taliban would play an important role in the process of peaceful reconciliation and reconstruction in Afghanistan. China and Afghanistan share a 50-mile or 80-kilometer border at the end of the narrow Wakhan Corridor. Even though China was wary of the American military presence in Afghanistan, but China benefited a great deal of the stability over the past 20 years. China's Xinjiang region connects with Afghanistan, and China is concerned that Afghanistan would become a base for terrorists and extremists fighting for the independence for Xinjiang. As a matter of fact, Xinjiang was a priority issue Wang raised with Taliban leaders during their meeting last month. After the meeting, the Taliban pledged that it would never allow any force to use the Afghan territory to engage in acts detrimental to China. China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region has always been a trouble spot for China. On July 5, 2009, a series of violent riots broke out in Urumqi, the capital city of Xinjiang. These riots were dealt with heavily by Chinese army, resulting in the killing of over 500 Uyghurs, thousands injured and hundreds missing. Later, China blamed the Uyghurs for inciting the riots and sentenced 35 persons to death. As part of a national policy for achieving a favorable demographic shift, Beijing has presided over the migration of Hans in Xinjiang region in general and important cities like Urumqi in particular to dominate the region economically, politically, and culturally. As per 1953 census, the population of Xinjiang comprised 6% Hans, 75% Uyghurs, and the remaining were Turkic. By 2000, Hans constituted more than 40% and the number of Uyghurs shrank to 45%. It is estimated that now about 75% are Hans, less than 13% are Uyghur, and 10% are from other ethnic groups. Uyghurs have constantly been denied basic human rights. Their properties were confiscated and they were kept under constant watch through electronic surveillance. Xinjiang has always been restive. However, China's Communist Party regime has been managing the region by ensuring a heavy presence of army as well as armed police troops. In recent years, China has invested heavily in Central Asia through its Belt and Road program. The Taliban's rise to power on Islamist militants could potentially threaten Chinese economic and strategic interests in the wider region. Andrew Small is a fellow at the German Marshall Fund in Washington. In an interview with the European Council of Foreign Relations, he said, "Although Beijing is pragmatic about the power realities in Afghanistan, it has always been uncomfortable with the Taliban's ideological agenda. The Chinese government fears the inspirational effect of their success in Afghanistan for militancy across the region, including the Pakistani Taliban." Last month, 9 Chinese workers were killed in a suicide bus bombing in Pakistan. This is one of the deadliest attacks on overseas Chinese in recent years. Islamabad said the attack had been carried out by the Pakistani Taliban out of Afghanistan. Beijing's unease with Taliban's return was reflected in statements from its foreign ministry, which has repeatedly criticized the US for acting irresponsibly in its hasty withdrawal. But Beijing has also signaled that it has no plan to send troops into Afghanistan to fill the power vacuum left by the US. The state-owned Global Times published an article which reads, "The most China can do is to evacuate the Chinese nationals if a massive humanitarian crisis occurs, or to contribute to post-war reconstruction and development, pushing forward projects under the China proposed Belt and Road Initiative, when safety and stability are restored in a war-torn country." On Monday, China's foreign ministry said it hoped the Taliban can fulfill its promises to ensure the smooth transition of the Afghan situation and curb all kinds of terrorist and criminal acts. In a statement Sunday, the Chinese embassy in Kabul said it had requested various parties in Afghanistan to safeguard the safety of Chinese citizens, Chinese institutions, and Chinese interests. However, Chinese state media has described the situation in Afghanistan as a major humiliation for the US, and they use it to argue for the superiority of China's so-called policy of non-interference in other countries' internal affairs. The Global Times said in an editorial, "This defeat of the US is a clearer demonstration of US impotence than the Vietnam War. The US is indeed like a paper tiger." Now, Taliban is in power. It no doubt needs external support to survive, and China is likely to provide such support. While there is little shared ideology, both sides are managing to forge a transactional relationship based on mutual self-interest. China sees Taliban the political force in Afghanistan, and the Taliban views Beijing as crucial for its international legitimacy and a much-needed potential investor in the country. In recent weeks, Taliban representatives have said China is a welcome friend in Afghanistan and have gone out of their way to signal that they will not interfere in Beijing's domestic affairs, while promising that territory under the Islamist group's control will not be used against other countries. Some Western media analysts predicted China will send in troops as soon as the US withdraw. The Hill said China plans to swoop in and fill the vacuum left by the withdrawal of US troops. I don't believe it will happen. Beijing does not want to be the next empire to enter the Afghan graveyard. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly.